Hey everyone, how's it going? This is the Ball Metal Nerd coming at you, of course, with another video every day this month, right? This one is going to be basically, we're going to be talking about, does a band owe you anything as a fan? Or as a fan, do you owe a band anything, right? So we're going to talk about this kind of as a two-way street. So this isn't unique to music, but I think it's very acutely felt with music, right? A lot of music fans feel they have a very personal connection with a band, right? This is especially true in metal, right? Because metal is an outsider's type of music, right? So maybe we feel that connection more intensely than other genres because we identify with identify with metal more with our personalities than fans of other genres. In general, this is a generality. This isn't a hard and fast rule. So let's say Band X is a band you've been a fan of for years or even decades. You have spent hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on your level of fandom for this band, on the band's releases, merchandise related to the band, concert tickets, whatever. You have invested some money into this, and you have spent countless hours listening to this band's material, right? And then the band does something that you feel is a betrayal, right? Let's say you think they, quote, sell out. So, which brings me, of course, to this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. I'm playing this game even though I never talk about video games on my channel. All of a sudden, I'm doing it. And also, before I play Raid Shadow Legends, I connect to NordVPN. Link in the description for 40% off. Yes, I'm making fun a little bit of sponsorships here on YouTube. And don't get me wrong, if this channel ever gets to the size where somebody wants to give me some money for inserting a silly commercial like that into my video, I will probably sell out and do that. Just so you guys know in advance. Although, at the rate my channel is growing, that may not happen for another, 200 years or so. So I wouldn't worry about it happening anytime soon. And by the way, I'm sorry about the ads on the videos this month. It's part of kind of this month I'm doing in the experiment. There will be an explanation for all of this early in March, I guess, once I have some analytical data. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. So we're talking about selling out, right? Excuse me. So let's say your favorite band has sold out in your eyes, right? Well, what do you do then? Well, you have a choice. If you like the direction that they've gone in, you can keep listening to them. Or if you don't like what they're doing, you can stop, right? Essentially, it's kind of a binary choice like that. But what some fans will do, if they feel especially betrayed by the band, is they will get rid of all of the stuff that band had produced up to that point that they love. They'll either sell it or destroy it or whatever, right? And before you do that, you might want to think to yourself, I really enjoyed all of this stuff up until this band has made this decision that I don't like, right? So is getting rid of it really going to make you feel better in the long run, right? Because then one of your favorite bands, you'll no longer be able to really enjoy what they did up to that point. And now, I get it if you're extremely emotional and feel like it's a personal slight against you or whatever. I sort of understand that mentality, but on another level, it's like you might as well just kind of, in my view, it's much healthier to let it go. Because you can simply, at that point, decide that you're not a fan of what that band is currently doing and just move on to other bands. There's plenty of other bands out there for you to explore. So that's my view. So do I feel, and some people might be like, well, they owe me an explanation for this, or they owe me this, or they owe me that, because they did something I don't like. I've been a fan of that band since the beginning, since, their first album. I got into them then, and I've been into them ever since, and I've loved them ever since, and damn it, they owe me an explanation, or, taking it in a more humorous direction. I was with that guy when he only had 100 subs on YouTube, and now he's got 10 million, and he's doing things I don't like. He owes me an explanation. Here's the thing. That band does not owe you an explanation whatsoever, right? They just don't. Because what they do is their decision. Basically, the only reason they're going to make any decision that they make, the band, is going to be either A, we're going to call it selling out, and you would too if you could. If they think it's going to give them a significant income boost, they're probably going to take that route, because that's pretty much everyone's motivation at the end of the day for doing anything in our society, right? So they're going to look at it and be like, you know what? If I can make more money doing this, I'm going to do it. Sometimes the quote sellout, what you feel is a sellout, may just be the legitimate artistic direction that they want to take, right? But I do understand the feeling, because music, unlike other forms of entertainment, is more artistic. Like YouTube, for example, the jokes I was making about the sponsorships and how I would sell out and all that. I don't consider what I'm doing to be particularly artistic, right? This is, for me, a hobby that I enjoy doing. I don't consider it art. If you do, you've got much lower standards for art than I do, I suppose. But, so I get that. You're like, well, they should be producing it with purely artistic intentions. So I get the feeling, but basically what it boils down to is I feel that all a band owes any of its fans, right, is it owes you, if you pay for an album, you are owed an entertaining experience for the album. Thankfully, here in the wonderful internet age, we can listen to any album we want, the whole thing beginning to end, before we buy it. Didn't used to be the case, but nowadays you can do that. You can listen to an album, and if you decide you like it, then you can buy it, right? So there you go. Now let's say you buy another piece of merch. Like, let's say you buy I don't know, a t-shirt, and it falls apart on you in a couple of days or whatever, or a week. Well, I guess you better hope that whatever retailer you bought it from has a decent return policy and all that. So yeah, I mean, there are things that can happen if you buy something that's not an album. If it breaks real easy or whatever, that can definitely be disappointing. Let's say you buy a concert ticket, and let's face it, the artist puts on a shitty show. They're having an off night, right? What do you do then? Shit, I don't know. I've never really been to a particularly awful concert. Every concert I've ever been to, I'm lucky, I guess. I feel like I've gotten my money's worth. But then again, I've never paid to see Guns N' Roses. Oh! Every one I went to see they've always put on a good show. So I guess if you pay for a concert ticket and you're there, they do owe you an entertaining concert as best as they can. So, I don't know, it's pretty simple. I don't think a band inherently owes you things. And I don't think, as a fan, you owe, it's a two-way street. As a fan, you don't owe the band anything in return. You can choose to give the band things in return, and by that I mean you can choose to continue to buy their recordings, their merchandise, concert tickets, promote them. In fact, speaking of that, I'm going to push a band right now that I've pushed before, but damn it, I was thinking about this because I remember on a few of my album reviews, I've actually gotten comments from someone in a band. Boom! Witherfall, the bass player, commented on one of my videos that I made about Witherfall's second album. This is their first album. I'm just showing their second one, or their first one, just because my favorite Witherfall album so far, their first album. But yeah, the guy's name's Anthony Crawford, bass player for the band. He basically just said, thanks a lot for the review. I responded to him and said, thanks. What did I say? Hold on, let me pull it up. I said, no problem, Anthony. I hope Witherfall becomes a very large band in the metal scene. I wish you and Witherfall all the success in the world. So that tiny little interaction that I had with that band member, right, does strengthen the bond personally for me a little bit with that band, right? Because he acknowledged that I made a positive review about their album. And why did I make a positive review about their album? Because Witherfall is an awesome band that every metal fan should listen to. I know that I'm being hyperbolic, but I'm actually serious. They are great. If you have not listened to them and you like metal, you owe it to yourself to listen to them. They are fantastic. I don't know, real class act in my view. So, but I don't felt that I owed the band that little push that I just gave them. I just wanted to do it because I really like their music, and at least one band member is probably a nice guy. So, you know, that's it. It's a reciprocal thing. But let's say Witherfall produces an album that I don't like, right? Let's, you know, say that happens. They change style dramatically and I don't like it for whatever reason. I won't feel compelled to buy it. I will, at that point, you know, I would probably do a review and say, you know, hey, I didn't like this album. Here are the reasons why. Check it out if you like. I'll say I'm not going to buy it, blah, blah, blah. And that'd be it, right? I wouldn't, like, endlessly praise it even if I didn't like it. So it's a two-way street. And, you know, I saw this first with metal music, right? But since I've grown older, I've definitely have experienced this with other art forms as well. Now, science fiction is a big one, obviously. You know, and we'll just talk about Star Trek and Star Wars. There are many fans that are very unhappy with the direction that those franchises are going in, right? And I count myself among them. Until very recently, with Star Trek, I was deeply unhappy with it, right? And I complained about it a lot. And I'm still not convinced that it's going in the right direction. We'll have to see how Picard shakes out. But I was deeply disappointed in Star Trek. And I did complain about it a lot, but I didn't feel that, even because of that, I didn't feel that as a fan, they owed me particularly anything. It's really up to them to decide what direction they want to take the franchise in, because essentially at the end of the day, Star Trek, Star Wars, anything like that, it's all about making money. And if they feel they can make more money going in, well, these, frankly, in my opinion, stupid directions, that's their choice ultimately to make. And as a longtime fan, lifelong fan, they don't really owe me anything, right? Because, again, here in the internet age, I can, let's face it, sail the pirate seas and see that stuff for no cost, right? You know, if I feel that it's actually worth paying for, I'll start paying for it again. It's just that simple. It's just I haven't quite gotten there yet, and we'll see what happens. Same thing with Star Wars. You know, I can just choose not to watch it. So, but I get it, because it's kind of a similar thing. You know, science fiction fans feel a bit of outsiders, although science fiction is incredibly mainstream now, especially with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's as mainstream as you can get. And I'm sure there are comic book guys everywhere that really hate the MCU. And I'm not nearly as hardcore of a fan of that as I am Star. So I can see how they would feel about it. But again, they don't owe you anything, right? Same thing with, and again, just veering back to music. Musicians don't owe you anything in particular. All they owe you is entertainment. And as long as you feel like you're entertained by what they're doing, great. Keep supporting them, keep the flames alive, whatever. As soon as you feel that they're not, pay attention to something else. And, you know, they don't owe you anything. And ultimately, end of the day, you don't owe them anything. It's just that simple. So, I'd really, of course, be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below. That's it. As always, thank you so much for watching. Live long and prosper. Keep on rocking.